right, so most designers work in a particular medium. There might be print designers or web designers, and it's pretty rare for people to move between the different worlds. But our first presenter used to do industrial design and now does more digital design. She's going to tell us about the life lessons. So please welcome Lilly Kolle.
Hello, my name is Lilly Kolle, and I'm a user experience designer at Sydney in Melbourne. But I studied industrial design, and I'm going to share with you guys today some things, 5 things, that I use over and over again in my job today. So you may notice from my accent, I'm not from here. I'm from a humble little country in the northern hemisphere called US. And this is where I went to school. This is California College of the Arts. Probably the biggest thing I took away from school was my process. So that's sort of research, and then you pull insights, and then you come up with some principles, and then you start coming up with ideas and solutions. My first lesson is don't skip the principles. If you do, you might get something that is referring to an archetype or a preconceived notion you have in your brain, like this. It kind of looks like a futuristic boombox, doesn't it? It's hard to see. But if you think about what a CD player essentially is, you might get something that looks like this. So this is by Muji. You pop a CD in there, pull the cord, and music comes out the front. And the 3 most visual parts of this design are the 3 main principles. So you get something more iconic. In school, we had to do a lot of sketching, so way a lot of sketching, 30 to 50 a week. And when I first started sketching, I would plan in my head what I wanted to draw first, and then I would start drawing it. But the more I practiced, the less I did that. I started to think and sketch sort of simultaneously, and not only did my hand improve, but my ideas improved. So sketching became an extension of my thinking, and I still use that today. Stick with me on this one. So at school, we would often get we would get the same project, like everyone design a camera, and we would go off and do our first 30 sketches. That's why it's 30. And we'd come back and present our ideas, and they would all sort of look the same. We would have similar ideas, or we would be solving roughly the same problems. And what we found was that ideas didn't really become unique until we went off and iterated a whole bunch of times. So this is, at the end of the project, this is my camera and my classmate's camera. And we had, all 24 of us in the class had wildly different concepts because we just kept iterating on those ideas. The first 30 weren't that original. So once I had a good idea. It was my 31st idea. And it was to make a dish rack that would arc over your sink so that the dishes could drip dry right into the sink. You don't have that nasty, grubby tray. And it would save counter space. So I put together a little booklet, and I had some beautiful renderings. And I sent it off to the International Housewares Competition. My roommate Todd actually did that one. I paid him to do it. They saw this thing, and they were like, this is going to break under the weight, and your dishes are going to crash in the sink. And I was like, hell no, it's not going to break. And I made one to prove it. And so this thing lived over my sink until someone got drunk and stood on it. And then it didn't work anymore. But the lesson here is that when you make your concepts real, then people will believe them. Tell your story. So when I was in school, I would stand up in front of my classmates and present my concepts. I would often present stuff like this, an exploded view with here's where the screws go and here's how you manufacture it. But what I would what I would talk about would be often something entirely different, something less tangible. I would talk about my principles and my concepts and my process. And I found that when I started matching my visuals to the way that I was explaining things, my presentations got a lot better. So for this presentation, I wrote down some principles. I wanted my slides to be beautiful. I wanted it to be a personal story, and I wanted to make fun of America at least once to get you on my side. Then I started sketching, and so I drew all of my slides lots and lots of times, and that's really how I formulated this talk. So I didn't go through 30 ideas when I was coming up with the idea for this talk. I did about 5 because I was under time pressure to submit something, and I noticed someone else submitted a similar idea of what he learned in industrial design school. So it's not an original talk. Make it real. This talk is real now. I'm doing it for you, live prototyping these concepts. So you can decide if they're good or not. And I don't have a lot of experience in digital or the agency world, but this is my story, and these are things that I use every day at work. Hopefully they help you to think differently too. Thank you.